Hi, my name is Strauss. I'm currently the Superintendent of Schools in Freetown-Lakeville here in Massachusetts. We are a wonderful community, regional community, and I really want to talk to you a little bit about we as a country need to begin to bring the joy back into education for students, but especially for our teachers. Um, Many years ago, I read from a principal, his name was Chaim Ganat, who wrote to his staff on the first day that he had witnessed things that no man should ever see. He was a survivor of a Holocaust and a survivor of a concentration camp. And he wrote about how suspicious he became of education because of all the brilliant people who did some pretty immoral things. And it really got me to understand that education is not just the teaching of facts, it's really the teaching of humanity. We need to not just be human, we need to be humane. And as I've spent my lifetime in education, first as a teacher and as a coach, as an advisor, as an assistant principal, as a principal who was a teaching principal, and now currently a superintendent, the consistent messages throughout the years has been that relationships are the utmost importance in everything that we do. Yet we continually lose teachers, and it is imperative, and it is one of the reasons why I began a company called Speak Your Joy, where we need to bring the joy back into education. We need to, yes, absolutely pay teachers more money. There's absolutely no question about that. But one of the things that we really need to do is we need to, as a country, begin to really respect our teachers, our educators, our paraprofessionals, our building principals, assistant principals, for the work that they're doing on a regular basis. There's so much upheaval as to what education should look like that this is neither the forum or the time to really talk about that. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that we continually talk about joy and kindness. Teachers cannot teach with joy and kindness and continue to give of themselves if they're not receiving something back. We often talk about the mental health of students. We have to continually talk about the mental health of our educators. Our primary work is to take care of students, and every teacher that I've ever met in my career, and which is going now on 40 years, every single educator goes in for the love of students. Certainly people do not go into it for money. Certainly people do not go into it for fame, but rather they go into it for a love of students. They go into it for a love of content, a love of changing lives generationally. And I think we as a country have forgotten that. It's my hope that we can start bringing it back. We want our teachers to continually feel that they are proud and that they are respected in this profession. Everything that all of us know, whatever we are doing in our lives, whatever career we've taken, whatever pathway we've gone in, we have been taught. Yes, at times we've been taught by parents and loved ones, we've been taught by coaches, but it's still teaching. And so therefore, there is no question in my mind that teaching is the most important, impactful, and responsible career that there is in the world. We have taught the doctors, we have taught attorneys, we have taught everyone to be able to help our country, our first responders, know what they know because they have been taught information. And so my message is simple. It's not incredibly complex, yet it's one of passion. Every day I look at my own two children, one daughter who is a teacher, and her two children, my grandchildren, my son who is a special needs child, and I realize that they are where they are, not just because of family, but because of the remarkable teachers that they have had in their lives. I really want to continue to send the message that we have to look at the work that our teachers are doing. It reminds me of the story of the three Masons, and a little girl is walking through a housing development with her mom, and she goes up to this gentleman and says, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing?" And he looks at her and says, "My job." She says thank you and goes on to the second person that she sees along the way, says, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing?" And he says, "I'm building a house." And the young girl says, "Thank you very much," and continues on with mom. They get to a third person, the third mason, and he puts down his trowel. He gets on his knees so he can look her in the eye, and he says, "I'm building a place where there's love, where love will flourish and families will grow. I'm building a home." And what I want our teachers to do is to be able to always be Mason 3, and come to work loving what they do. We cannot do that if we continually look negatively upon our teachers. They are learned, they are trained. We continue to provide more training. We must provide more training and more resources. We must take things off of teachers' plates. There is a sad belief that because summertime is teacher time, that teachers do not work full years, and I will be the first one to tell you, I know our teachers are going home and working and diligently on lesson plans. They are working on trying to understand every single one of their students' needs, and we must never forget that. I'm indebted to teachers. I'm indebted to our teachers across the country. We need to take more off of their plate. We could spend hours talking about state testing and how teachers are being forced to teach to a test and then are either being praised or vilified based upon test results that are inconsistent, that are unfair, that we certainly need to change a system. Students are not test scores. Students are far more, and we must never forget that.